Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. Hoping everyone has connected successfully and hoping everyone is staying safe and staying home as we head into this Easter long weekend. My name is Ashley Spilak, Content Marketing Manager at the BCWI Institute. My role is to manage content, including digital content for the Wines of British Columbia. Certainly unprecedented times for all of us. With BC winery tasting rooms now closed and physical distancing a reality, it's never been more important to get digital. Working with my team, one of our main goals is to help bring more orders into our wineries' inboxes. The Facebook ads platform, including Facebook ads, can play a major role in this. Using this platform, you can target red wine, sparkling wine, or rosé interests. You can target by region, income, or demographic. After our federal government announced the COVID-19 guidelines, including the temporary closure of our tasting rooms, BCWI consumer Facebook ads have spiked. Our ads regularly target consumers and drive them to our members. Canadians are searching for Canadian wines. They want more information on shipping. They want to know how to purchase. And while BCWI will continue to manage and drive our Facebook ads, we want to amplify the opportunity for our members. Hence this webinar today, to help get you up and running and driving consumers at home directly to your website winery shop pages. Today, I'm pleased to introduce our presenter out of Victoria, living in the stunning Vancouver Island wine region, Amanda Robinson, otherwise known as the Digital Gal. Amanda's specialty includes training and working with small businesses. She has instructed on Facebook advertising for over 8 years. She's a Facebook master and will take us through the mechanics of getting your ads ready. This presentation portion will last for 1 hour. It will include some technical pieces that you'll have the ability to replay after, so don't get frustrated. We have a lot to cover. After the presentation, we will commence with a half-hour Q&A using the chat on the right side of your screen. We ask for your patience as we will attempt to get to all questions, and we'll do our best afterwards to follow up if we cannot. Thank you, everyone, and over to you, Amanda.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. All right, we've got a lot to cover, so I'm going to just dive us right into the presentation here. Let me bring it up for us. Okay, so welcome. We're going to be walking through some Facebook advertising. What we're going to be covering today, we're going to look at your account setup, some compliance when it comes to doing your Facebook ads, creating your actual ads, and some strategy behind it. And we're going to take a look at some ad examples as well. I'm just going to pull out of here so I can get rid of this little, there we go, get rid of that notification. And back in. Wonderful. All right, so a little bit about me. I am Amanda Robinson. I am the Digital Gal. I run a Swift Kick in the Ads membership program teaching Facebook ads. I have consulted for many large organizations, and I have spoken on stage and presented in many different capacities. So Facebook ads are definitely my jam. We're going to be talking today, digging deep into setting up your account, creating the ads, targeting your audience, and how to budget for ads. I just want to preface this part of the presentation and say, you're going to have a copy of this presentation. The first part, we're going to dive really deep and get pretty geeky right up front. Don't be overwhelmed. Just stay with me. I really want you to understand the concepts to get you set up properly so that we can dive into creating the ads, making sure that you're set up. So let's talk about setting up your account. I'm going to cover off your page versus profile, what business manager is, what ads manager is, and how those two pieces are different, making sure that your ad account is set up properly and that you have your Facebook ads pixel on the go. Don't be overwhelmed. Here we go. All right. Before you can start advertising on Facebook, you need to have a Facebook page. Most people understand that, but some business owners are still a little bit foggy on the difference between a business page and a personal profile. A business page is like a public billboard. Anybody can click like, anybody can follow your business page, anybody publicly can comment on your business page, and anything you put on your business page is public content. Your personal profile, however, that is private. That's where people need to send you friend requests. And that's what you need. You need a personal profile in order to manage a business page. So you definitely need both. And you need to make sure that you're not doing business on a personal page or a personal profile, that is against Facebook's terms of service, and it can get you into some hot water. So that's why we want to make sure that you have a public presence, and that is your business page. So your business page is the prerequisite for running your ads. It also gives you some insights on your page reach, your page engagements, and video views, your performance. So you're getting a lot of rich data coming in to be able to understand how people are engaging with your content, how they're engaging with your page. And it goes way beyond the vanity metrics of just how many page likes you have. It also allows you to be able to set up some audiences for you to remarket and retarget your ad content too. So if you are not using a business page, then you don't have the ability to retarget people who engage and interact with your content. If you are using a business page, you can grow those audiences and have some very low cost ad opportunities. So it's certainly something to keep in mind. And it gives you the ability to, like I said, have lots of rich data and see some insights on what's happening with your page, with your post reach, your post engagements, your video views. These are really important metrics and things that you need to focus on growing. So increase growing your digital footprint, meaning how many people that you're reaching with your content, versus trying to focus on how many page likes you have. Page likes are not important. Your digital reach, your digital footprint is extremely important. You need a Facebook business page in order to do that. Now let's talk about Business Manager. So what is Business Manager? Business Manager is, imagine it being like a home security system. So you need to be able to set up access control to protect your assets. So you wouldn't just let anybody walk in and out of your house at any point in time. Same thing with your business assets when it comes to your Facebook business page, when it comes to your ad account, when it comes to your Instagram profile. You don't want to just hand the keys of the palace over to just anybody. You want to have good access control. The best way to do that for business right now is using Facebook's Business Manager. This is different than Ads Manager. Ads Manager is where you go to create your ads. Business Manager is like your security system where you control your assets. But first, we need to set up your account and we need to bring those assets all together under one umbrella. So I have some links at the bottom here, business.facebook.com. And you'll notice as we go through the presentation, rather than navigating and showing you where to access all of these, I've just got some quick links down there for you. So when you go to create your Business Manager account, it's going to ask you for some business information to first get it set up. It'll walk you through all of these steps as well. I just want to make sure we're covering off the key important factors for getting it set up. So first of all, you're going to create your Business Manager account. If you go to business.facebook.com and already see a Business Manager account in there, fantastic. Sometimes Facebook automatically creates those for you, and that's okay. Just go in and edit all your settings and make sure you're pulling in the rest of the assets that we're about to talk about. So next, you need to add your Facebook page into your Business Manager. So we have the options here to add a page, request access to a page, or create a new page. Generally, you're already going to have your Facebook page existing, and we're going to use that first option to add a page. So you want to add your page into this Business Manager. So we're bringing your Facebook page into your security system. And here's a quick tip. Once you've brought your page into your Business Manager account, remember you have all these slides so you can go and use these for reference at a later date, but you're going to want to edit your business info and your settings here to make your page the primary page for this Business Manager. This is one added step for security to make sure that nobody else who is an admin on your page can possibly claim your page into their Business Manager and walk away with your business assets. So it's just one area of protection for you. All right, and then next we need to add your ad account into your Business Manager. So like I said, we're collecting all of these assets into your security system. Business Manager is that security system, and we're collecting your assets. Your Facebook page is an asset, your Facebook ad account is an asset, and they operate differently. So we need to go and add your ad account in there. And again, when you go through the whole setup process, it'll walk you through all of this as well. A tip before you do anything with ad accounts in Business Manager, one little hiccup with ad accounts is that you cannot transfer them or move them once you've pulled them into a Business Manager account. So once you add an ad account to your security system, you can't take it back outside of that security system. That security system, aka your Business Manager, owns that. So keep that in mind when you pull an ad account in or you create a brand new ad account. An area of confusion that I see often with business owners when they're trying to get Business Manager all sorted out is that they have an existing personal ad account, which you'll see an example here. If you go to facebook.com/ads manager accounts, you're going to see what you're going to see ad accounts that live on the personal side of things. Everybody has a personal ad account, but we need to claim it and move it over into Business Manager. Some people have gone ahead and created a brand new ad account in Business Manager. So they have both. They have a personal account and they have a Business Manager ad account. And that's where I see some confusion. So just make sure that we're collecting all of the right assets into the right place inside Business Manager. And that when you go to run your ads, you're using the right ad account that you have inside of your Business Manager. And last but not least, with Business Manager, you need to connect your Instagram account if you want to be able to do advertising on both Facebook and Instagram when you're using Ads Manager, which we're going to talk about next. And a tip, make sure that your Instagram account has first been converted into a business profile using the app on your phone. So go into the app settings, convert it to a business account, and make sure you link it to your Facebook page via the app. And that way, when you go to set up Business Manager, you can easily claim it with fewer hiccups in the setup process. And then last but not least, now that you've got all of your assets pulled into your security system, you have to grant access to different users. So if you have employees, if you have family members or other people that help you with your Facebook page or need to be an administrator or an editor on your page, you want to make sure that you add them into your Business Manager, either as an employee or as a partner, and then grant them access to the different assets that you have. So keep in mind that access, if you're bringing somebody into your Business Manager, you have to give them access separately to your Facebook page and to your ad account. Doing one or the other doesn't grant them access to both. So you need to grant them access to both pieces, and you'll notice that in the setup process. And a heads up from, again, looking at it like your security system, this is a giant business tool for you. This is very important to the future growth of your digital footprint and your business. You want to make sure that you as the business owner own the Business Manager account. You want to own that security system yourself. You do not want an employee owning it. So therefore, you as the Business Manager should be the only administrator, holding the keys to the whole palace on your Business Manager account. And then alternately on your Facebook page, on your ad account, you can have other people as administrators as well that have admin access on those pieces, on those assets. But on your Business Manager, the big security system, you as the business owner need to be the only admin on there, or have a backup admin of somebody that is your family member or somebody you absolutely trust with your life, with that business. So those are things to keep in mind. And optionally, if you're working with another business, for example, say you were working with the Digital Gal, you can add another partner access. You can give them partner access. So rather than adding somebody as an employee, you can add them as a partner so their business and their employees can access your pieces and work on them. So you might do that if you're working with an ad agency, for example. All right. I know that was a lot. I think that's going to be the heaviest part there. But I wanted to really drive home the difference between your page versus profile, what Business Manager is and what it does versus Ads Manager. These two often get confused. Business Manager is where you go to control all of your assets, your access control, that security system. And Ads Manager is the actual tool where you go to build your ads. What does that look like? Well, most people, when they first start doing Facebook ads, they are more comfortable with using that little boost button on the bottom of their Facebook post. So they can click the boost button, they can create a quick little ad. It's very easy and very seamless. Well, I like to call that the training wheels of Facebook ads. So if you are boosting posts, that's okay. You'll have some people who say, oh, you should not be boosting posts. Well, if you've been boosting posts for a while, it's time you've outgrown it, and it's time to lose those training wheels, and it's time to graduate up into something that's more powerful and that's going to use your budget a lot more efficiently. So this is what Ads Manager looks like. Ads Manager, like I said, that's where you go to create your ads. So you can set up your campaigns, your ad sets, and your ads. And we will cover that off in a little more detail soon, but I just wanted to show you the difference. So this is what it's going to look like when you go in to create your actual ads, where we're going to do all the building. Just touching back on that boosting post versus using Ads Manager. So why do we want to move away from boosting a post instead of going through the complicated system of creating ads, which is not that complicated once I show it to you today. So boosting posts is very linear. It's a very one-to-one process. So every time you boost a post, Facebook automatically creates a campaign for you, automatically creates your ad set, which is where your targeting happens, and automatically creates that ad in the ad inventory and starts circulating it around all the different placements. So this is an example of just very linear. In this example, the ad is an objective. The objective is engagement. So we want people to like, click, comment, or share on the ad. It's a very broad audience, and it's a singular ad. So if we were to do the same with Ads Manager, we have more flexibility. So for example, we're able to create a campaign, and within that campaign, with our ad sets, we can target 2 different targets, 3 different targets, however many you want. In this case, this example is showing targeting website visitors and targeting your email list. So it's 2 different targets living inside one campaign. And then each of those different targets that we're targeting, we have different ads. We have different ad variations that we're using to test the ad creative, to test the headlines, test the ad copy, and see how well they perform. So this is a much more efficient use of your budget because you're able to split that budget up into the areas where you want that budget to be able to be more effective for you and to be able to test things so that you can know for every campaign you do going forward, what's working for your business and where you can improve and eliminate areas that are not performing well for you. And then we have your ad account. So things you need to know about having an ad account. An ad account, when you first start doing business with Facebook, you have an ad account limit of up to 5 ad accounts in Business Manager. So if you pull in your personal ad account and then you create new ad accounts, you'll hit a limit of up to 5. Why would you need more than 1 ad account? You would really only need more than 1 ad account if you have more than 1 line of business that are very different from each other. So if you have separate websites, I might run a website teaching Facebook advertising, but then I might also have a side hustle, a side business where I do arts and crafts and I have a separate website. I can have different ad accounts for those 2 pieces, and I can have those all living inside one Business Manager. Why do I want different ad accounts in that case? Well, each ad account gets its own pixel. And that pixel is part of the secret sauce to your ad targeting. That's what gives you a lot of the power to be able to retarget people who have been on your website and retarget people based on the behaviors and how they're interacting with you with anything that's taking place outside of the Facebook environment. So that's an example of why you would want separate ad accounts. But for most of our purposes, you're only going to want 1. Here's another heads up. If you have created a brand new ad account inside your Business Manager, and then you have your personal ad account where you've already been doing some boosting posts and spending some ad dollars, and then you decide you want to pull your personal ad account over into your Business Manager account, you're going to run into a little hiccup. Facebook is going to say, whoa. You're only going to get 1 ad account right now in your Business Manager until you start spending some ad dollars on it so we can verify it's not fraudulent. And then we're going to open it up and allow you to create up to 5 ad accounts. And then there are business managers with more ad accounts in them, but that's once you've hit some higher thresholds of spend, that's more on the agency side of things. So you don't really need to worry about that. What you might find, if it's been a while since you've been inside your ad account or tried to create an ad or used Facebook ads, you might find that your ad account, when you go in to use it, might be deactivated. Why? Well, Facebook has been deactivating inactive ad accounts for quite some time now. So that's a little bit of a shock to people who have done Facebook ads, say 3 or 4 years ago, and then they go back to try and do some ads now. You might realize that your ad account is deactivated. That's okay. You can always go back in and access Facebook support and help them get their help to reinstate your ad account. Why do you want to reinstate the ad account instead of use a brand new one? Well, again, it all ties back to that pixel and the data that's been collected on that pixel and what we can do with that for your ad targeting in the future. The other reason you might get your ad account deactivated is if you breach Facebook's terms. So if you're doing bad advertising practices or breaking the rules, so to speak, Facebook can deactivate your ad account. So if you've been spending ad dollars and growing your audiences and increasing that digital footprint and spending in a very healthy way, but then you make a slip up and accidentally promote an ad and you didn't update your age that you're targeting, and say you're targeting an alcohol ad to a below legal drinking age person, then that is an example of where Facebook could shut down your ad account permanently. And they don't ask questions. If you have breached any of their terms, they just shut you down, and that's it, non-negotiable. So you do risk losing out on all the ad dollars that you've spent and all of the attention span that you have earned and the growth of your digital footprint if that happens. So we want to avoid that. And that's why we're here today, learning how to do your Facebook ads properly, especially for a niche industry like this. And lastly, on the setup side, before we dig into actually how to create these ads, is your Facebook pixel. So what is your Facebook pixel? This is, your Facebook pixel is a little snippet of code that Facebook gives you. And this little piece of code is just a tiny little piece. I'll show it on the next screen. It gets installed into the header of your website. If this is way beyond your scope of expertise right now, don't worry. Generally, most of us who don't know what we're doing on creating our websites, we usually have someone who helps us with our website. So your web developer or a friend who's a little more savvy on creating websites or editing your website. What you're going to do is you're going to go to facebook.com/events manager, and you're going to create that pixel. Or if it's already created, you're going to go in and access it. This is what it looks like. Don't be intimidated. This is where most people's brains kind of go blank right now. Don't worry. This slide is literally just for your reference when you go to do this yourself. So you know you're in the right place and you know you're clicking on the right things. That little garble of code on the right-hand side, that's what a Facebook pixel looks like. That is exactly what gets copied and pasted into the header of your website. And what does that do for you? Well, that allows you to track people who have visited your website. So if anyone's visiting your website, we can track information on their behavior from Facebook onto your website, and then we can retarget them with ads based on that behavior. For example, if they added an item to cart but then didn't purchase, we can retarget them with ads. If they purchased an item, then we can retarget them with different ads. There's a lot of creativity that you can get to, but for most of us in a small business environment, we're not going to get too creative with it. We just need it for helping us create those website visitor audiences because it's an extremely valuable audience. So if you do not have your Facebook pixel installed on your website, stop everything, go and generate your pixel, and go and have someone help you install it into the header of your website. That's if I can give you one big piece of advice, whether you are ready to do ads today or not, you need to start collecting this data starting today, because by the time you're ready to start using this, you're going to be so thankful that you have that there and available for you. And this is just an example of why you want that pixel on, so that you can retarget your website visitors with ads. So you can create an audience of people. In this example here, creating an audience of people who have been on your website for the last 180 days, so up to 6 months. Now let's talk about compliance. And again, all this is sort of laying the groundwork before we dive into how to go in and actually create those ads and do your targeting. So in your industry, we need to be a little more cognizant of compliance. There are two different forces that we're looking at. We need to make sure that we are in compliance with local laws and regulations. And then we also need to make sure that we're compliant with Facebook's rules and regulations when it comes to advertising. So this is one of the more common questions in this industry. So let's clear up any confusion. You need to be aware of the shipping laws on wine within Canada. Now you need to make sure that you're checking before you do ads if you're going to be shipping anywhere outside of British Columbia. But as of right now, with the resources that I've referenced so far, yes, you can serve your ads to BC, Manitoba, PEI, and Nova Scotia. Saskatchewan is a little bit of a gray area, so make sure that you're doing your research here. And now something else to keep in mind. So what I'm saying here is that any of these other provinces and territories that you are not allowed to ship your wine to, make sure that you're not targeting them with your ads. Now let's talk about, not only do we have local laws, right? So we have local laws where we have the legal drinking age in certain provinces that it's 18 plus, and then in other ones it's 19 plus. Something to keep in mind here is that Facebook's policy has basically said, we don't really care about what your local age is. We're saying for Canada, we can't target anyone under 19 years of age or older. So therefore, any ads that you're doing that are targeting alcohol sales in Canada have to be 19 plus, and you can only target the applicable provinces. So that's the one little caveat that you need to keep in mind when you're doing your advertising on Facebook. Now, the other thing to keep in mind when doing ads on Facebook is that, first of all, can you promote alcohol sales in Facebook ads? Yes. However, can you promote alcohol sales on Facebook directly using Facebook's properties, such as their Facebook Marketplace, their buy and sell groups, page shops, or Instagram shopping? The answer is no. So what's the difference between these? Well, if you're creating a Facebook ad and it's pushing to a website that is your own website, or pushing off somewhere outside of Facebook's environment to go in and create that sale. So if someone is purchasing wine off of your website, That's okay. Your Facebook ad can point to your website, and the sale transaction can take place outside of Facebook. The sale transaction can't take place inside of Facebook. So that means you can't have alcohol for sale in a Facebook shop, on a buy and sell group, in Facebook's marketplace. Why? These are all functions that Facebook has built out where you can actually put in a credit card and check out right within the Facebook environment. So you're not able to do that. So just keep that in mind. It shouldn't influence you too much. It shouldn't impact you too much. For the purpose of creating a Facebook ad and driving traffic to your website to get people to purchase, you're fine, as long as you keep all of those other policies in mind. You just can't use any of Facebook's tools to sell directly within Facebook's environment. So if you have any questions on that, please feel free to reach out to me and I can help clarify. Now, when it comes to creating your ads and getting those ads approved, there's an approval process that Facebook goes through. So you need to make sure that you're compliant in all those areas. Your ad copy has to be compliant. Your image has to be compliant. So Facebook is looking at all of these different areas. They're looking at what you've typed for your ad text. They're looking at the image itself to make sure that it is compliant, as in you don't have to worry about this too much in your industry, but if, say, you were in a dental industry and you had a zoomed up picture of a smile, Facebook doesn't allow you to have a zoomed up close up on any body part. So even teeth on a smile, Facebook would reject that. They want to make sure that you're not doing anything fraudulent or having anything offensive in there. In your industry, not too worried about that. And ad approvals can take up to 24 hours to be approved. And the system is running a little bit slower right now with the changes in our global economy. So just keep that in mind. If you go to create an ad and it's a Friday evening and you want to have it up by the weekend, sometimes ad approvals can take a little bit of time. So just be patient with the system and plan ahead. And then some common areas that ads are getting rejected is if you have text in your image. If you have more than 20% text in your image, Facebook will likely reject it. If you have up to 20% text in your image, Facebook has a lot of artificial intelligence, AI, that scans all of your images, and they can tell, even a logo is considered text if there's text in the logo on an image. So if you have up to 20% text, it's okay. Facebook will still run that ad for you, but it might cost you a little bit more money and your delivery and reach might be a little bit lower. So you're best off to create ads without any text in the images at all. Let your ad copy, the ad text portion, do the talking for you, and keep the image portion to a scroll stopping image. And then the other restriction, of course, is the age restriction, making sure that we are 19 plus. So if you leave it on the default and try and run an ad, Facebook's default is 18 plus. So just keep that in mind. All right, next we're going to dive into actually creating these ads. So we're going to take a little breath here. So that's all of the account setup, what you need to know, the do's and the don'ts, the compliance. So these are all of the things that you need to keep in mind before you jump on and decide, okay, let's go and push out a Facebook ad. So now that we want to go ahead and create the ad, before we go into the system and go and build one, we have some questions we want to answer first. So we want to manage some expectations on what that ad is going to do for you and how that's going to actually play out once you start putting some ad dollars in it. So once you start budgeting and putting some ad dollars behind an ad, what's going to happen? Well, we are going to reach certain people with that ad. So we're going to do some targeting and we're going to decide how much money we want to spend and who we're going to target with that ad. Then we're actually going to need to create the ad itself. So we're going to need the image, the offer. So create the offer, create the text, create whatever it is you want that ad to say. And then in your case, we're going to be sending people most likely to your website. And when they arrive at your website, what's that website user experience like? What page are you sending them to? Does it load quickly on a mobile device? Does it only work well on desktop? These are some things to keep in mind so that when we look at how do you create an ad that's going to work for you, we just need to keep these in mind. And these questions that we're going to ask before we dive into creating an ad, this is how they kind of fall in line with those different areas, those different components. So when we go to create an ad and you're planning it, these are some of the questions that I would ask you before we run an ad together, before we start advertising. So what result do you want your ad to achieve? So what's your ad trying to do? Are you just trying to get people to your website? Are you trying to get them to purchase? Are you trying to get them to just engage with the post or just watch a video? So there's different levels of engagement and different levels of end goals that you can have with your ads. Next is how much do you want to spend on that ad? And how many people do you want that ad to reach? How long do you want it to run for? So those are sort of the beginning questions on crafting your ad. Then there's the actual ad itself. So what do you want it to say? And what do you want your ads to look like? And what kind of feeling do you want that to have? And you need to collect and assemble your assets, your images, your videos, whatever you're going to be using for that. Make sure you have that ready. And then what results, once the ad runs, in the end, when you look back at the results of that ad, what would make you feel that this was a success? You should have that in mind before you start running your ad so that you know, okay, I have an expectation of what I want this to achieve for me. Then you run your ad, you spend your budget, and it's consider it like an experiment. And then you look back at the results and say, did that do what I wanted it to do? Yes, great. Let's do it more. Let's do it better. Let's keep improving. If the answer is no, we either need to look at why it didn't work, or we need to adjust your expectations. And we can talk through that a little bit more later on. So let's talk through an example here. What results do you want your ad to achieve? Well, in this case, we want people to go to your website. How much do you want to spend on ad? Let's hypothetically say $500 on this. You can, when it comes to budget expectations, you can be all over the map, anywhere from, you could boost a post for $25. You can spend $100 on an ad that's going to run for the weekend. You could spend $500 a month and just have that spread across an ad campaign that runs every single day. There's so many different ways that you can do it, but for the purpose of this conversation, let's just say $500. And then who do we want our ad to reach? Who are we targeting? In this example, let's say residents of Vancouver Island, because I'm sitting here in beautiful sunny Victoria right now. And how long do you want your ad to run for? Let's say 5 days in this case. And then what do we want it to say? So in this example, we'll say we want to offer curbside pickup. So curbside pickup with a smile. And that's my ad copy that I've already prepared. And then what do I want my ad to look like? Well, you don't have to create one single ad. You can create a couple different ad variations using the same ad copy and the same links and the same call to action. We can just have different images to see which image pulls better. So in this case, I've found an image of a smiling staff member. And so having a smiling human being in the shot that typically performs a lot better than most other types of images. I also have a product shot here. And then I have what I would call a scroll stopping image, something to make you go, hey, what's happening there? To make your brain go, what? And make you stop scrolling for a second, just enough time to actually see what the ad is about. And at this, I'm going to show you, I'm going to come back to that in a moment. I'm going to show you how to go and create these ads. And then we're going to come back into this presentation and carry on with looking at some of these examples and results. But at this point, we're going to pop out and we're actually going to go and build an ad live so you can see what the ad system looks like when you're building these ads. So I'm going to come out of here and I'm going to stop my screen share here. Bear with me. And I'm going to get us into Facebook's Ads Manager. Oops, there we go. Ads Manager. There we are. All right. Welcome to Ads Manager. So this is what Ads Manager looks like. Don't be overwhelmed. These are just the results of ads that have been run in the past. And these are the tabs on looking at your campaigns, ad sets, and ads. I can explain what those are in a moment. But the main point I want to drive home is, what are we doing here? Ads Manager is where we go to create those ads. So we're going to use that giant, beautiful create button. And I have an ad that I had half started, so I'm just going to click start over. So this is where all those decisions come into play on those questions that I was asking you on what is the end goal that you have for your ad? What do you want it to achieve? And who do you want to target for that ad? How long do you want it to run? And what kind of ad creative and imagery do you want to use? So in this case, you'll notice how it's all broken out for us on the left-hand side. The objectives, our ad sets is where our audience, placements, budget, and schedule take place. And then the ad, the format, your media, your image, or your video, and any other creative considerations. So this is going to be a guided creation. It's going to walk us through how to create that ad. So your first choice that you have to make is, what's your objective? What do you want this ad to do? Do we want to just reach a whole bunch of people? Do we want to drive traffic to our website? Do we want people to engage, which is a like, a click, a comment, a share? So just interacting with the post. Or do we want people to watch a video? If we have a video, do we want them to watch 3 seconds or more of that video? Or do we want them to get, halfway through that video? We really want to encourage those video views. We would choose a video view objective. Lead generation, that's where people are filling out a form on Facebook. So if you, real estate agents use this quite frequently, where they want people to fill out their name, their phone number, their email, so that one of their sales team can then contact them back. Messages, it's driving a message into your messenger inbox. So those are some examples here of what these objectives do. And then on this right side here, I just want to kind of point out conversions. That's generally a purchase. If you want someone to purchase on your website, this requires your Facebook pixel to be set up. And this requires your Facebook pixel to be calibrated a little bit more so that you can identify where a purchase takes place on your site. If you're using a site like Shopify, WooCommerce, or any of those other e-commerce related sites, Facebook partners with them and has all of that calibration already built in. If you have a custom site of your own and you want to be able to tell Facebook when somebody clicks here, that's when a purchase has taken place, you first have to identify that in order for conversions to work. So you need your pixel for this area. Conversions might sound a little confusing, but that's generally where we go when we're thinking of we want to drive more purchases on our website. So traffic is clicks to your website. Conversions are events such as people making a purchase on your website. Catalog sales, that's what you're going to need if you have over 100 different items. You have lots of different SKUs. Imagine if you were selling t-shirts and you had small, medium, large, extra large, and different color variations, and you have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different SKUs with hundreds of products. That's where a catalog would come into play. And we're not going to worry about store traffic right now at this moment. So these are some of the choices that you have to make on what do you want that ad to achieve. So in this case, we're just going to choose traffic because we want to send these people to your website right now. So you're going to give that campaign a name. We're going to say spring sale. You can ignore the A/B testing. We don't want to do testing right now. We just want to create an ad. And then we need to choose what budget you want to use. So you have some choices here, a daily budget or a lifetime budget. Why would you use a daily versus a lifetime budget? A lifetime budget you would use if you have, say, a smaller budget. So you only have $100 that we want to spend for this ad campaign. And we want it to run on a time limit. We only want it to run through the weekend or for the week. So we know we have a start date and an end date, and we don't want it to run forever. So that's where we would use a lifetime budget, and that's how Facebook is going to spend your money for you. Whereas if we have something that is ongoing, it's an offer or something that we just have out there that it's evergreen, meaning it doesn't have a time limit, it's timeless, it's always able to be presented, then maybe we want to set up a campaign that runs endlessly with no stop date in sites. Then we might want to set up on a daily budget, say $5 a day. Just spend $5 a day, and you might want to do that for building awareness. So you might have ads that you have running promoting your winery or promoting your restaurant or promoting your location. Then that's something that it's evergreen. You're always going to want people to be aware and be promoting that. So you could run that on a daily budget. But if you have a special or a time-limited offer or anything that's time-sensitive, then we probably want to put that on a lifetime budget. So for our purposes, let's just say we're going to run a $500 budget on this one. And then I'm going to click continue. All right, so that was on the left-hand side, our campaign. We've made our decisions at the campaign level. So that's going to be the settings for our campaign. Now Facebook moves us into the ad set level. So now all the choices that we're making here pertain to the ad set. What happens at the ad set? Your targeting and your schedule happens at your ad set level. So this is where we have our targeting of who we want to target, where we want those ads to show up across Facebook, and how long we want that to run for. So we have some additional choices. I'm also going to name my ad set. And then we have choices here. We want to drive that traffic to our website. I'm not going to dive into all of the options through this webinar. I'm just going to show you high level the areas where I do want you to focus, the things that are more crucial. We're going to skip over a dynamic creative and an offer, and we're going to get down here. This is where we have your targeting. So we have the option to say where we want to target and who we want to target. So this is where we can craft and customize it a little bit better. So I want to target British Columbia. There we go. So now you can see on the map, it's targeting British Columbia. We also have the option, if we wanted to, we can, rather than targeting by province, say we wanted to target a particular area. And in my case, let's see if I'm geographically getting this into the right, there we go. I'm originally from Ontario, so when I zoom into the maps, I'm so used to zooming right into Toronto. All right, so maybe I want to run an ad just to this region over here, and I want to do it by dropping a pin. So I click on drop pin, and I can drop a pin here in this area, and then I can choose the radius, the mile radius, and how far I want to go. So if I had a 25-mile radius, that's what my targeting looks like. If I have that radius, you can see you can increase the radius. Now just keep in mind, when I'm just doing radius targeting, this one's targeting Canada, so it's going to target everybody in Canada in this location. So say I want to do a smaller target. Let's go, say I want to do 4 miles, and say I wanted to drop another pin. So you can layer it in certain ways based on whatever strategy you have. So if there's certain areas that you want to be targeting versus others to spend your ad budget more efficiently, that's an option. You can also target by postal code, so you can drop in different postal codes. But for your purposes, you're most likely going to be looking at targeting, keeping it quite broad. So let's go back to British Columbia. British Columbia, there we go. And you'll see some stats on the right-hand side, the audience size. So right now, if I just want to target British Columbia and keep it at the wide open options of 18 to 65, remember we need to change this to 19 plus. There's 3,400,000 people I could be targeting with this ad. $500 is not going to go very far for 3,400,000 people. And this is too broad of an audience. Targeting all of BC with an ad doesn't make a lot of sense. So let's narrow it down a little bit more. So we have detailed targeting. This is where you can put in some of the interest, that interest targeting. So I can put in here, I can say an interest in vineyards, in wines, wine. And then as I start to populate this, I can click on suggestions. And I can start populating some additional suggestions. So you'll notice, let me remove this one here. See what, yeah. So if I just have food and wine and vineyard as my selected interest, notice if I hover over it. So for vineyard right now, it says the size of the number of people who have an interest in a vineyard is 24 million people. What? That's a lot of people. But because I'm targeting British Columbia, it's only 510,000 people in this audience that match that criteria. People who live in BC and have an interest in food and wine and vineyard, or vineyard. So this is or. And that audience size might be a little bit too small. This is another question I get asked very frequently is what audience size is good? What's too small? What's too big? So if we're trying to target several million people with $500, going to be way too much. Our ad dollars are... It's not going to be very targeted, so therefore the ad dollars will spend through, but we might not have very high quality people in that audience that are very relevant. So your ad might not perform as well as it could. So we want to narrow that audience down. 500,000 to $1 million, that's going to be okay for a $500 budget. These are just things that you're going to have to just play around with because it's individual to each individual business. My results might look different than your results when it comes to creating those ads and running that budget through. So it's definitely worthwhile testing. But if you're in the 500 to 700,000 audience size range for a niche market, that's fine. But you can definitely bring that up a lot further. So we can click on suggestions and keep on going. There's a lot more advanced targeting opportunities that you could do. This is just the very, very basics that I'm showing you right now. So let's say Wine Enthusiast Magazine, wine cellar, red wine. So that's just some examples, and it's just going to slowly keep increasing that audience size. So as we keep going down, we have some additional options. Where do we want our ads to be placed? Where do we want them showing up across Facebook? So if we leave it on automatic placements, which is what I recommend for you to start, that's fine. Facebook will take all the different placements on where that ad can show up both on Facebook and externally on Facebook properties outside of the Facebook environment. And Facebook will run those ads to the placements where they're most likely to get the best results. Or you can edit those placements if you wanted to. You can click on manual placements, and that's where you can choose, maybe I don't want this ad running on Instagram. Maybe I don't want this ad running in Messenger because the ad isn't really formatted very well for it. I don't want to spend my ad dollars where I know it's not going to get results. So maybe I just want it on Facebook. And you know what? Maybe I don't want it on the audience network. That's Facebook's network of different apps. So imagine if you were sitting down and playing a game of Scrabble on your iPad and then an ad pops up. That's an example of an inventory placement where you might find the audience network coming into play. So now with that, let's leave Facebook and Instagram on. So you can see down here, there's even further customization on where you want that placed, and you can hover over and see examples of what those placements are going to look like. And you can take them off. So say I don't want these ads showing up in stories because I don't really have ad creative that's very well tailored for it. So maybe I want to uncheck Instagram stories and Facebook stories, but you can play around with this. For the most part, however, I'm going to recommend when you first start doing your ads, just leave it on automatic placements and let it run. Then we have some choices. Landing page views versus link clicks, impressions. So all of these choices here, because we chose a traffic ad, because we want people going to our website, sending that traffic to our website, these are some additional optimizations. So how do we want to optimize that ad? How do we want Facebook to go and optimize it for us? Do we just want people to click on the link and that's it? Or if we have our Facebook pixel installed on our website, do we want to say, Facebook, even though people are clicking on the link, can you also make sure they make it to our webpage and that tracking pixel fires so that it's sending a signal back to Facebook saying, hey, the person that clicked on the link actually did arrive on the website. So a landing page view is going to be a much higher quality metric for you if you have your pixel installed to be able to see that traffic that actually arrives on your site. Things can happen, such as someone clicks on your ad, but they don't have a great internet connection and it takes way too long for your page to load, so they abandon the click and they go back to browsing Facebook. Or they click on the link, but they didn't need to, and they abandon that click and they go back to Facebook immediately. So there's lots of different ways where a link click can be a little bit deceiving. So you might get a report saying you have thousands of link clicks on your ad. But when you actually go and look at your website stats, you're like, wait a second, I really didn't get thousands. I maybe had, 900, but the numbers don't match. That could be because sometimes the traffic coming through from Facebook doesn't always actually make it through to your landing page, to your website. So that's what we're doing here. That's what these mean, the different optimizations on what we want Facebook. Yes, I want to send traffic to my website, but what do I want it to achieve? Do I just want people clicking on the link and get as many link clicks as I can? Or do I want to make sure people are actually landing on that landing page? So that's what that option is there. This option here changes based on what objective you chose at the campaign level. And then we have our schedule. When do we want to run the ad? So maybe I want to run it from today, but I don't want to run it for a month. Maybe I want to run it just for a handful of days. And then sometimes if we take too long to create, the ads gives us this little warning saying the start date is in the past. So I can click reset. That's fine. And those are the settings that I want you to pay attention to at the ad set level. All right, staying with me. Moving on to creating the actual ad. Now, creating the ad, I have two different Instagram accounts connected to this, so I'm making sure it's my page and my Instagram account that I want to advertise to. I'm going to name this. Yes, I can type. And then I have different choices here. What kind of ad do I want to create? If I click on Use Existing Post, I can click on that and I can use a post that I've already put on my Facebook page timeline. In this case, I want to create a brand new ad that's not going to be on my timeline. It's just going to exist in the ad inventory, not on my page. So I'm going to create it from scratch. I want to use a single image or a single video, and I'm going to add media. I'm going to add an image. And let's say this one here. Continue. So I've chosen my image, and this is where I get to put in my primary text, my headline, my website, which is required in this case because we said our objective is a traffic ad, which means clicks to a website. So we have to have a website URL to put in. So let's go. There we go, thedigitalgal.com in this case. This is my ad text. So you'll see it starting to populate on the side here. This is my headline. You'll see it populate right here. This is my headline. Optional description. Now this description here doesn't always appear. You see it down here. This is the optional description. This doesn't always appear on all different placements. So keep that in mind. Don't put any important information in here. This is just some supporting information. Your main text has to go in that primary text box. And then we have the option of customizing our call to action button. We can say learn more. We can say shop now. You can customize that and you'll see it updating. And then we have our different placements here. If I want to see what that looks like on desktop versus instant articles, which is another type of placement, versus stories. So if I want to go Facebook stories, it's going to take a minute. That's what it looks like. That's not super exciting. So sometimes you want to tailor that placement. And in this case, you can actually go up here, select a placement to customize. So I can scroll down and say, you know what, let's go ahead and customize that Facebook stories right there. And you can customize it a little bit better so that it's more effective for the placement that it's being placed in. So Facebook has some built-in templates here. I want to change that template and choose a different template for that story. And this has a little more animation included with it. So say I want to choose this one here. And see how it's now made a nice and much nicer representation of the image, your headline, your call to action within the stories placement. I'm going to cancel that because it takes a little bit of time for it to render. And then from there, if we have a Facebook pixel that we have installed on our website, we want to make sure we're using that. I have lots in here. You'll only have one typically. I just have some additional advanced setup happening here. And then when you're ready, so we've set up the ad, it looks the way you want it to based on all the different placements, and everything is looking good. And again, please, this is just a mock-up example I'm doing here. Then you hit confirm. And what that's going to do is that's going to send the ad for approval in Facebook's inventory system. So that's where it goes into the review process. Facebook's AI, artificial intelligence, takes a look at it to make sure that you're in compliance, make sure that the age is appropriate for who you're targeting based on what product you're targeting, making sure there's nothing offensive in the ad, making sure that your ad text isn't making sure they actually do check the grammar and they're not looking for bad grammar. They're looking for excessive use of emojis and really salesy, blasting in your face, very intrusive, invasive type of ad copy. So avoid that. Just keep it natural. Keep it sophisticated and natural, and your ads will perform much better for you. And like I said, you don't really want to have too much text in your image. You can have lots of text in your ad. You can have short ad copy. You can have really long ad copy, but you really don't want to have too much text in the actual image itself. Don't be using your ad as a billboard. As in, don't be trying to jam in all of the information into the picture. Use all of these other areas that Facebook is giving you to convey that information. And then you would hit confirm, and that would create the ad. Another area I want to show you, I'm just going to hit stop share here and share another tab I have for you before we dive back into the presentation. So I'm going to show you what's called the Creative Hub. This can kind of come in handy as well. So the Creative Hub is an area, by the way, all of these are accessible. In this menu up top, I can navigate between my ads manager. I can go to my audiences to create my ad audiences. I can go into my billing in here. I can go into all sorts of different billing. I can go into all sorts of different areas. Events manager, that's where you're going to go to get your pixel. Anyway, I just wanted to show you what this is. And you have this thing here called Creative Hub. So if you want to go in and create mock-ups of your ads to see what they're going to look like and see how well they're representing, you can do that here. So you can go in and you can upload your image, and you can upload your primary text, your headline, your link. So you can have somebody work on ads for you, or a team member go ahead and do all this work for you before you're ready to actually turn it into an ad. And you can customize those placements for stories, etc. So that's another handy little tool. All right, so I'm going to stop that share, and I'm going to pop us back into the presentation to finish this off with what you need to know with some ad examples. So let's pop over here. There we are, back in. So this is, like I said, the example. I'm just going to get rid of that little piece right here. There we go. And here we are. So these are just some examples of that same style of ad, only done with 3 different images. It has the same call to action, the same headline, it's conveying the same thing. I'm just testing 3 different types of images with that. So I'm going to back this up 1 second here. So if you are limited by budget, we need to adjust your expectations. So when we ask that question of what results would make you feel this ad was a success, well, if you want to make a whole bunch of sales, you want to sell lots of cases of wine or increase your subscriptions for wine, or you want to move your inventory, ultimately, you want to make sales. You have to ask yourself a question, is Facebook the right vehicle for you to do that right now? Facebook can be very successful for you, but that's generally with a long-term plan and with putting lots of work into growing your digital footprint, growing and earning the attention span of high quality audiences and working the system for a very long time in a very consistent way, then it's easy for you to go out and do an ad that leads directly to sales. But for most of us, when you serve an ad to a cold audience, there's cold audiences and warm audiences. Cold audiences are people who don't know you. They've never met you before. It's a first impression. They're like, oh, wait, who are you? And a warm audience is an example of someone who's been on your website, or they've already seen your content and engaged with it. They've watched your videos. They've clicked on a link. They've engaged in some way. So that's a warm audience. If you're targeting a cold audience with your ads and you're reaching, say in this example, 2,500 people, of that, let's hypothetically say 1,000 of them land on your website. And in a perfect world, 50 of them would go ahead and make a purchase. Then that way, the $500 you spent on your ad is definitely well worth it. You're making a huge ROI and you're super happy. It doesn't always work that way. So this is that example broken down further. So imagine if 5% of your website visitors actually make a purchase. So if we spent our $500, say we reached roughly 2,500 people, and that's what that looks like. It doesn't always work that way, because when you're targeting a cold audience of people who don't know you, it's very hard to go from a cold audience first impression straight to a sale. Imagine it being like being at a party and somebody introduces you at a party. Like, hi, Amanda, I want to introduce you to Joe. And I walk up and say, hi, Joe, my name is Amanda Robinson. I teach Facebook advertising. I have this course and that course, and it's for sale right now. I really think you should buy it. Do you want to buy it right now on the spot? Yes or no? That's a very uncomfortable situation. Most people don't do that. It's not a great first impression. So if you're serving your ads to a cold audience, making that first impression, sometimes your budget is better spent just making that first impression and not asking for the sale. But some people go into Facebook ads with the expectation that my first impression is going to lead to tons of sales. Sometimes that doesn't happen. So in this example here on the left-hand side, we've got ads that have been served. Say we reached 2,500 people. Say we got, of those people, 1,000 were curious and actually clicked onto our website, but we didn't actually get any orders that came through that ad. Well, that's okay, because that ad that we created, the purpose of that was just to make that first impression. And then we can have other ads in place that the purpose of these secondary ads is to retarget our website visitors. So we've already made that first impression. They already know who we are. They know we sell wine. Now it's time to put an offer in front of them to say, hey, I really think that this is right for you. So you can offer, your 10% off, free shipping, whatever that offer is that you want to put out there. But if you get back in front of people who are already familiar with you, you'll have much greater success and much higher likelihood of that leading into a sale. So that's just to manage these expectations. I see a lot of advertisers go in really excited right up front. They spend a lot of money and they get zero results coming out of it. And that's because the expectation is that Facebook is going to do all of their marketing for them. And really, Facebook is just one tool in your big marketing toolbox. You have lots of other pieces that are also at play here with your marketing, whether that be participating in your local community, newspaper ads, your curbside or roadside signs. There's all sorts of pieces that contribute to your marketing. Facebook ads is another area that contributes. So just manage those expectations. And there is some strategy in behind how we move people through those stages to actually translate that into sales. Don't be discouraged. You have to start somewhere, and it's great to start dabbling with it now, especially now that the inventory is quiet. There's a lot of Facebook ad inventory available. Advertisers are not, it's not as competitive as it was a month ago. So it's a great time to get in the game right now. All right, we're going to wrap this up here with some ad examples. So I was very, very excited to get some examples provided from Wines of BC. And let's just take a look at these. So what are we looking at here? On the left-hand side, here's an example of the ad. So you can see at the top, we have the ad copy. So the ad text. The image is a great image. It has a person in it, a smiling person. People connect with people, and that's a fantastic use of image. There is text in the image, but that's okay because the amount of text that's being used is very conservative. It's very small. It's not more than 20%, and it's not being used as a giant billboard. It's just enhancing and adding to the experience. In this case, the example was coming in at roughly 29 cents per click. And I wanted to show you that because I want you to have an idea of how much does it cost to get people to click through onto your website. You're probably going to be running anywhere from 50 cents to over $1 per website click. So to see this coming in at 29 cents a website click, fantastic. And then this chart is just showing you just time, how many people are being, how many clicks are happening and cost per result. And over time, you can see how those costs start to increase and the clicks start to decrease. So over time, you can start to see when an ad gets a little more exhausted. This is an example of a report that you'll find in Ads Manager when you're exploring the results of the ad after you've already run it. This is another example. This one's coming in at 79 cents cost per click, and it's retargeting website visitors from the last 180 days. And this is a carousel ad. It's another type of ad format that you can use. It's carousel ads are basically ad tiles that are swipeable. So you can swipe through those different images and you can click on the links. Carousel ad, you can customize all of those different links so they go to different places. So if you want to showcase different products, they can click through and go to an actual product page for each of those individual pieces you want to show. And this, again, just managing expectations. This one has spent just shy of $600 and reached 200,000 people and had just over 700 landing page views. Not just link clicks, we're tracking landing page views, which is that higher quality metric, making sure Facebook is actually receiving that traffic onto your website and giving a confirmation back to Facebook saying, hey, that click that you sent over here, it actually made it. It's here. So that's fantastic. These results are fantastic results. And just to help you shape some expectations on what you might expect to see when you go in and start running some ads. Another heads up is that I tried to pull some ad examples. And let me tell you, nobody in your industry is running ads right now. I shouldn't say nobody because obviously I have a couple examples right here. I must have sampled over 30 different wineries trying to find ad examples. I use Facebook's ad library. If you just go on Google and search Facebook ad library, it'll be the first result that comes up. It's Facebook's tool that lets you go and search any competitor, any Facebook page out there, and you can find out, you can go and look at the ads that they're currently actively running. Now, keep in mind, if you're going and doing some recon and searching up some ad examples of your competitors, not all of the ads perform well. We can't see how well the ads performed. We can just see examples of the ads they have running actively right now. So you might look at a competitor's ad and think, oh, gee, I should try and do that too. Your competitor might be running that ad and it might be a total flop for them. So just keep that in mind. Use it for inspiration only. And that's what these are, just for inspiration only. There's another couple ad examples. I really was not able to find too many examples at all of good ads that are running right now out in the wild. So this is a fantastic time for you to get in the market and start running some Facebook ads, especially in our local regions here. All right, let's wrap this up, shall we? So your next steps, I've got one more slide for you to give you the next steps, your kind of your marching orders on what to do from here to get those ads up and running. So first and foremost, we got to get that security system set up properly. And the reason is if you don't have it properly set up now, it can cause headaches and problems down the road. And it will also limit some of the features and functions that you can or cannot use on Facebook. So if you don't have Facebook Business Manager set up, you can't create an audience of people using your email list of customers. That's just one example. So make sure you get your housekeeping in order, get that business manager set up, bring in your Facebook account, your Facebook page, your ad account, connect your Instagram, and give access to only the people who need it. Then make sure that you have your Facebook Pixel installed on your website. If you're not sure if you do, there's a little Chrome extension that you can download called the Facebook Pixel Helper. And you can go onto any website, use that little Chrome extension, and it'll give you a blue light, yes, if there's a pixel installed, or a grayed out section if there's no pixel installed. So you'll be able to know if you have your pixel on your site or not. Just make sure you go get it installed ASAP whether you're ready to run ads today or not. And then I've got a little tip here on the left-hand side. We didn't dive into all the ins and outs of creating audiences, but you do. These are some of the most common helpful audiences that you can use at a lower cost. So creating a website visitors audience using your pixel, a customer email list that you can upload and then target your customers on Facebook, people who have engaged with your page or engaged with your Instagram profile, and anyone who's watched any of the videos on your Facebook page. You'll want to go and set up those audiences and then be able to use those audiences in future ads going forward. And there is a Facebook worksheet that is included right here with the webinar that you can download. And it's just to walk you through all those questions that we covered off and helping you decide on your budget, targeting, placements, making sure you're thinking about what imagery you want to use, what ad text you want to have. And then you can go ahead and get started with creating your first ad. So that was a complete, jam-packed, full-blown overview of ads from start to finish on everything that you need to know. And that's that. So I'll stop the screen share here. If you have any questions, if you want to find me, you can find me at thedigitalgal.com and pretty much all around the web at The Digital Gal. And now that I'm finally off the screen share, I can see there's lots of questions in here.
No, I know. You can take a breath, take a drink of water. That was a lot in a short period of time, and so valuable, taking us through all those steps. And I know to some of our members, this might seem really technical, but trust me, once you get in there, once you do it, it's easier than it seems. Facebook is very intuitive. It walks you through. And I just really encourage you guys to dip your toe into this and try it out, because I think there's some great opportunities there for retargeting wine club members, other people's wine club members, Napa Valley wine lovers, some of our target competitive audiences as well, to expand our marketplace. So let's dive into the chat here, if you don't mind, Amanda. We have a lot of questions. Thank you from Sam. But let's start at our bottom. Hello, is this being recorded for review afterwards? Yes, absolutely. Pixel slide was a bit hard to read on screen. Can she show again with a close-up during Q&A?
And I'll say I can share it again, but in all honesty, the pixel slide is more for your reference when you actually go through setting it up yourself, just so that you can look at the slide and go, okay, am I in the right place? Yes. Which option do I pick? Yes. So it'll help you. The pixel itself is it's just a snippet of code. I would.
Yeah, and that's Leanne with Town Hall Brown. Thanks so much, Leanne, for that question. We actually have Amanda's full presentation, which has some of those slides, which will be in a larger form for you, so you'll be able to see that. Holly Brockmeyer, PEI.
Oh, for what provinces you can target? Yeah. So there's restrictions. There's restrictions all the way around, but the latest resource that we did take a peek at, and I'm not an official source, but PEI and Nova Scotia were on the list as places where BC wines could be shipped to.
Facebook declines wine when I add it as a product. Christy Bibby.
So when you're saying add it as a product, what that tells me is that you are possibly adding it to a Facebook shop, which is something that we don't want you to do. Is it okay if I jump in and do a screen share here? Mm-hmm. I'm just going to pull up my Facebook page first, just to show you the difference of what a Facebook shop is. Facebook, The Digital Gal, I'm just getting that rocking here, and do a screen share. And I'm going to share this tab over here as it's loading. All right, so on the left-hand side, notice I have this thing here called a shop. And in that shop, I can upload products. I can add a product, and I can go in and put a product in here. This is an area where you cannot sell alcohol, unfortunately. So we can do ads that are promoting alcohol sales that are taking place off of Facebook. This area here, if someone went to go and purchase, they could actually check out on Facebook. You can't have alcohol sales taking place right on Facebook. I actually have an old product in here that Facebook has been cracking down lately. I used to be able to run my services through here. So I could run my consultations, I could run all sorts of things as a product, and it was fine because it could link to an external website. Facebook has just recently changed those rules, and now a bunch of people with products are now getting them rejected. So I'm not sure entirely if that is the area that that Christy was
I
experiencing.
suspect that might have been it. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Another question. Will you get a copy of this presentation? Yes. Everything will be emailed to you an hour after this this webinar wraps up. A replay of this full webinar will be there, as well as the ad planning guide that we have for you as well. Okay, question from Shannon. When I have run a Facebook ad recently, it went over budget. It was over by a small amount, but I'm concerned that in the future it might result in a higher amount.
No, as long as you set what your budget is at the campaign level or at the ad set level. I showed you just one way of doing it. There's multiple ways of setting up a budget. There's the odd time where Facebook does say it will, especially if you're using a daily spend, a daily budget without an end date, it's going to spend within a small parameter on either side, under or over, of that daily budget spend. If it's a lifetime budget, it should actually spend right up to that budget and end. I generally don't see it go over. I usually see them underspend, and there's lots of reasons why an ad campaign may underspend. But if it went over just slightly, if it's nothing to be alarmed about, I've never, ever, ever seen an ad campaign overspend when it has been set with parameters on how much you want to spend.
And that has been my experience too as well when we set those budget limits. Okay. Our CEO added our social media advertising guide. Thank you, Miles Proden. We will be updating that for 2020 with some new information. So yes, stay tuned for that. Leanne, will a copy of this be shared? Yes, it will. Absolutely. All of our webinars, just so you know, leading forward, all of them will have a replay option, and they will not, it won't be time limited. Is it best to have the link to the homepage or directly to the store?
That's a strategic play that you might want to do depending on what you're trying to do. So if you're trying to make that first impression that, like, hey, not trying to go straight in for a sale, then maybe you want it going to your homepage. If you have a carousel ad and you have several different products that you're showing, then you might want each of those carousel tiles to link directly to the product that you're showing. So it's strategic. It depends. And you might have, say your homepage loads very quickly and say your product page doesn't load very quickly. So testing the user experience and testing that out and seeing, when I run an ad to my homepage, does it get me better results? Or when I run an ad to my product page, does it get me better results? And it'll be different for you compared to a competitor or a neighbor. It's going to be different across the board. It's all worth testing.
Question from someone, Brandon, can you run only Instagram ads, or is there a separate ads manager for Instagram?
No, this is Facebook ads. What we just showed you, the ads manager, that's where you go to run Facebook and Instagram ads. You can run Instagram ads directly from your cell phone, like from the app itself, similar to how you would boost a post on Facebook. So you can boost posts on Facebook, you can promote posts on Instagram, but ads manager is the really powerful tool that lets you run ads to both, either or. So you can run ads that are Instagram only, and you can run ads that are stories only. You can run ads. That's actually one of the greatest places to test and to split, because what Facebook will do is Facebook will spend your budget automatically in a way that I explained is kind of like a waterfall. So it will waterfall your budget down into the different areas based on all those choices that we make. So it'll start with the campaign and it'll roll that budget down into your different ad sets. So if you have different targets that you're targeting, website visitors versus people who have viewed your videos on your page, Facebook will automatically roll that budget down and say if the website visitors are responding better and it's getting better results out of that ad set, Facebook will divert the budget away from the other ad set and push more budget into the one that's getting results. Same with your ads. It'll divert more budget out of the ads that are not performing and put it into the ads that are automatically. But it also does that placement. So say if you go through all this effort to create these beautiful ads that are going to perform really well on Instagram, and you just run it, but the automatic, you're letting it run on automatic placements. Facebook might serve it to a bunch of people on Facebook, start getting some results happening on Facebook, and then divert all your budget into Facebook and none into Instagram. So you get no results coming from Instagram. That is very common, can also be a little frustrating. So what I would recommend in that case, is set up a separate campaign for your Instagram ads and run it just to the Instagram placement.
And that's what we do at the Wine Institute as well. And we've actually done it both. We've tested it on both using the Instagram app and then using it through the Facebook ads platform. And our experience has been more affordable ads through the Facebook ad platform, serving it to Instagram versus using it just off the app platform.
Yeah.
Okay, Ashley, great point about managing expectations for Facebook ads and generating warm context in concert with other vehicles. Thanks, Ashley. Appreciate that.
If I could just touch touch briefly on that. Yes, it's a point about managing those expectations, but it's actually a strategic play. So if you really want to make Facebook ads work for you, the best way to do it is to start with advertising with lower touch point objectives. So going after engagement. So run an ad and just ask Facebook to get you more engagement. So those are your likes, clicks, comments, and shares. That's it. Start there. And the more people that engage, the more that audience expands in size for you. And then you can run another ad targeting people who have engaged with your page. And then maybe run a video ad to them. And then retarget people who have viewed your videos. And then run a traffic ad to your website. And then get those people who have already engaged with you and get them onto your website. Then retarget your website visitors with sales. So that example I just gave you, I think, is about 4 layers of different ad campaigns. And that's 4 layers of different spend. You might run $100 per campaign in that. So it's $400 just to get them to that point. And that's why I'm saying this is a long-term game. If you go into a cold audience and try and make a sale, it's not as effective. But if you wrap this into your marketing budget, your marketing objectives, if you fold Facebook ads into part of your marketing practices, then over time, you increase the quality of those audiences. Over time, you increase the people at these different stages of your marketing funnel. And then over time, it is easier to run some ads that are just asking for that sale from the right people who are also ready to receive that communication.
And that's a great point with the engagement. That's a great opportunity for our members. A lot of them have fantastic stories, family-based businesses, great narratives to get out there to warm that audience up before you serve them the product or retarget them on the product. Okay, a question from Naramata Bench, Hugh McClelland. Can I target ads to people based on their email address, which I have for, say, a newsletter? Yeah. If so, where is that controlled?
Can I'll do another screen share here.
Sure.
So I've got the Ads Manager tab pulled up, audiences. So back into a screen share here. I'm in the audiences tab. So if I were to go to that top menu on the top left, actually, let me just go right into there. So, oops, not add accounts. This is that menu again, where you can access all these lovely different areas of behind the scenes for Facebook advertising. So where we go to Ads Manager, your Events Manager for your Pixel, etc. But if you go into audiences, that's what I'm on right now. This is where you can go and create those audiences. If I go to create an audience, I want to create a custom audience, and that's where you can upload a customer list. But when you go to upload that customer list, in this case, you do have to have Business Manager set up and have your ad account inside Business Manager. Otherwise, this will not be available to you. And that's for security purposes. Facebook is really cracking down on people using purchased lists and going wild and advertising under different names and different banners. So that's why, from a security perspective, you need to have Business Manager set up to use this function. I would go in and giving me some prep on what it's looking for. You can download a template to use, but really, if you just have a CSV file with email addresses, that's all you need. Click next. No, I don't have any customer lifetime value associated with it. Next. And just upload your file. Upload it or drag and drop your CSV file, give it a name, and save that audience. And that is how you set up that email audience.
And we've used this tool particularly for some of our Chef Mates BC Grape events. We know who our ticket holders are. So when we go out with our next year events, we'll use that as a tool to retarget because we know they're most likely to buy a ticket again. So thanks, Hugh. That was a great question. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Conversion versus traffic. What do you recommend?
Fantastic question. I recommend traffic right now because it depends on how much budget you have to spend and how high volume traffic you have and how many interactions you have. If you're running an ad for conversions, it needs your pixel set up on your website. And conversions are different events that you've identified to Facebook are important, such as signing up for something, such as downloading a PDF, such as adding to cart, such as completing a purchase. Those are examples of different events. Now, if you're going to run an ad using conversions, which is those events, and say, Facebook, go and find me more people who are most likely to check out on my website and complete a purchase. Go and find more people and serve this ad to as many people as you can that are going to perform this desired action. You need to be able to achieve about a minimum of 50 of those conversion events in a week in order for Facebook to optimize for conversions. So if you have a lower volume, if you're not able to make 50 sales in a week for a purchase conversion, then it's not going to optimize as good for you. So you can back it up a level and say, okay, Facebook, instead of getting people to my website and getting them through the checkout process and getting them to actually purchase as the end goal, maybe we reset our expectations and say, you know what, Facebook, the job I want you to do right now is just get people to my website. I'll let my website do the rest of the work right now, but just get them to my website. That's the job you want it to do. So that's what you would do if you can't achieve more than 50 conversions within a 7-day period of time. Now, that's just a guideline. Experiment with everything. Some people run conversion ads to a purchase and they get very few purchases, but it works well for them. So it's worth experimenting. But traffic is definitely where I'd say to start to get people to your website.
And what I find with Facebook's also very intuitive. It actually tells you when your traffic, you're not performing that well. You need to expand your target audience. You need to shrink it. They're very good at actually tracking it for you, and we'll send you push messages as well. So you don't actually have to be on that ad platform 24/7.
Not like me. I live in it, seriously.
Okay, another message. Thank you. We tried to connect our Facebook to our Instagram, and Facebook had created a new page for our winery that we do not have access to, no option to claim it. So now we cannot connect our actual Facebook to Instagram. Do you know how to fix this? Facebook offers no resource or customer support.
Yeah, so I've worked with a couple other businesses that have run into very similar issues. I do offer our 1-hour consultations to jump on a video screen share. We go on Zoom. We share your screen. I walk you through everything, and we do the investigative work to dig back and figure out what's not connecting properly and get you sorted out. I've had really good success rates with getting people sorted out, and that's a very common issue to run into. So it's something that I won't be able to give you a quick tip here on how to fix it, because there are quite a few stones we have to go hunting underneath and turn up first before we can understand what the issue is. But yes, it is common. Lots of you, when you first start, that's a great question, saying you've already looked at this. Most of you watching this webinar have not even started this process yet. You're going to run into snags when it comes to running, when it comes to setting up Business Manager and getting everything set up. You're going to run into little surprises along the way. They're very common. So don't get frustrated with it. There is generally a solution. If you need help, just reach out to me and I can help you.
Okay. I'm not seeing a lot of other questions. I did have a question come in through one of my colleagues on text. She said that she thought that she saw one of our larger wineries actually on Facebook Marketplace. Is that for sure a no-go, or?
If they've been on there in the past, I can understand that. But I would say I'm starting to see major changes in the system just starting this month. When it comes to, I've had people calling me saying my Facebook products aren't connecting. I'm having problems. They're getting rejected. I'm having issues. So it looks like Facebook is really purging the system. They've also really clarified what those rules are for the commerce policies. Keep in mind that Facebook has those two different areas. It has the ad policies, and it also has the commerce policies. Facebook Marketplace would fall under the commerce policies. So not only can you not sell alcohol, but you also can't sell services like haircuts, and I can't sell consulting services in the marketplace. You have to sell a physical product that falls in line with their commerce policies terms, which is different than their ads policies, which, let me tell you, doing all the research for this webinar has it's actually brought to light a lot of the changes that were coming in the system that then have popped through over the last couple of days even. So yes, if you've seen a competitor previously running ads in the marketplace, that makes sense. But going forward, you're going to see it wiped clean.
Yeah, Facebook has changed so much just in a year. Like the fact that they're offering these dynamic ads, you can create. Yeah, it's unbelievable how they're changing so fast, but also very intuitive. So once you learn it, it's easy to integrate some of these other strategies. So we have a question from Crystal. What is your option on inviting people to like your page after they have liked or engaged with your ad or posts in general?
Yeah, so if anybody engages with your post, meaning a like, a click, a comment, a share, actually not a click, but if they've engaged with any of those if they've reacted to the post, then you have the option to click on your reactions, and it'll pull up a little panel, and you can invite those people to like your page. You can see the ones that have reacted to the post who have already been invited or who already liked the page. But that's one tactic of going through and inviting people to like the page. So you can have ads running out there. Just follow up after the ad has run. Make sure, or even while it's running, make sure you go back to that ad, open that ad up, go and preview that ad, and click on the people who have reacted to the post and invite them to like your page.
And Crystal, we do that as well, and we find it actually really effective. After a lot of our ads, people that have reacted to our ads, we go and invite them to our page, and we build our page that way really effectively. And I don't think you are spamming them when you're doing that. They've already engaged with you, so it's just a form of retargeting, really. Okay, one question from Aura Rose. You talk about traffic to the website, but what if you want to increase the number of people following you on Instagram or Facebook?
So interesting, an interesting perspective. Let me do another screen share here. Let me just pull up. I'm just going to pull something up quickly, and I'm going to show you an example of a page that has maybe 2,000 likes. But I'm going to show you why likes don't matter. Likes really don't matter that much. Likes are more of a vanity metric more than anything at this point in time. So let me just go here, and let's go last 28 days, and I'll jump into the screen share here to show you. Okay, getting screen share going. Screen share, pick a tab. I want to go to this tab here. All right, so now you can see my screen. This is an example of a page that has, we'll say, 2,000 likes, and yet at the same time, in the last 28 days, has been able to reach 100,000 people, has had 32,000 page and post engagements, and has had 72,000 video views. Why are these important? Well, because anyone who's engaged with that, with any of those posts, we can retarget them. So that size of that audience is now 32,000 people I can retarget with an ad it's a warm audience. Same with video views. Anyone who's watched the videos, I can retarget 72,000 people. It's quite a very healthy audience size of people who are already familiar with this page. And the post reach, it doesn't matter that only 2,000 people have liked the page. Using the combination of organic content and ad content, we've been able to reach 100,000 people, and these numbers stay very consistent. And when I do Facebook advertising with anyone, the goal is to keep these numbers increase, keep them riding high month over month over month, because that's going to contribute to the quality of your audiences that you can target. So the likes, really at this point, likes are just a fancy vanity metric. Yes, there's a couple things you can do with targeting to target friends of people who like your page. Those targets they're pretty diluted because you're targeting people who, if I'm targeting friends of people who like my page even, well, that could be my friend's grandma who lives overseas, who has nothing to do with my business and is not interested. So it's not a fantastic way of targeting. And growing likes, like I said, it looks impressive, but the real reality is the data that's happening behind the scenes, and it will naturally grow over time. If you're doing the right things with your ads and your content, and you're inviting people to like your page after they engage, it's going to naturally grow at a very healthy rate and a high quality amount of people. If you're running ads that are just a like campaign, sometimes you're coming in at $1 per like. That like means nothing to you if they don't click to your website. So I'd rather spend that $1 or that 50 cents per click to get them on my website, not to get them to click a like button. So that's just one way of looking at it.
You're getting a lot of accolades on the webinar being very informative and easy to digest, and it definitely, thank you so much, Amanda. It's a very technical subject. There's a lot to go through from start to beginning, but once you get started and you start seeing those results, it actually can be a really powerful tool. Yeah. And I wanted to thank you very much again today. We have a couple minutes left. I'm not seeing any more questions rolling. And is there any other tidbits of information you want to share before I do a wrap up here?
Yeah, walk before you run. Don't try and do it all at once. Just start getting familiar with it. If boosting a post is your comfort zone, then keep at it. Right now is a fantastic time to get some ads up and running because the ad inventory, the ads that are out there, it's quiet. Nobody's advertising right now. It's a great time to be present, even if you're not putting ads out in front of people to make a sale. put ads in front of people to make sure that they know you're still here and that you're still active. It's a great time to get started, and it's a great time to start experimenting when we all should be in peak season, but we're not. So now is a good time to get your advertising and housekeeping in order. And don't compare yourself to anybody else. Don't compare yourself to a competitor or any other winery, any other restaurant. Don't compare yourself, because their results will never be the same as your results. Yours will never be the same as anyone else's. It's very unique to you, the business that you've been building and growing, the influence that you have, your personal relationships, your efforts, your marketing efforts. It's all about you. So make sure that you start running some advertising dollars, set a baseline. So take $100 and go and run an ad. That's going to set a baseline for, okay, how many clicks did I get? How many people did I reach? What audience did I use? That's going to set a baseline. So the next time you go to run an ad, you can say, okay, how can I improve on that? How can I get better results? And if you do need help with any of this, if one-on-one coaching and consulting isn't in the cards, there's also options to take a training program. I have a 4-week Facebook ads boot camp, which basically goes in depth on everything I showed you today, from how to create the ads to doing your audiences and targeting at a more in-depth level, your budgets and your strategy, and then analyzing and reporting to read the results and make improvements. So it's a 4-week training program to basically get you up and running, but give you the dedicated support you need over those 4 weeks to be able to help you out. So overall, I really want to encourage you to dip your toes in the water and get started, but don't feel that you need to be at an expert level. Don't try and keep up with an e-commerce company who's, running purchase conversion ads and has, 10x, return on ad spend. Just ignore it. Just do your thing. But definitely consider Facebook as a really, really fantastic marketing channel for you. It will produce results for you in the long run. Don't look at it as a get-rich-quick area or a place where you can just make immediate sales. It's a place where you can plant that seed and let it grow, much like you're already familiar with when it comes to your wines and the love and the passion that you put into those wines. The same goes into your Facebook ads, and it will grow over time for you.
All right, thank you very much. So we're going to conclude our webinar today. Thank you so much to Amanda for your expertise and your presentation, for really putting that into plain language for us. For those that are registered today, a replay of today's webinar and handouts will be emailed to you in 1 hour's time at the conclusion of this. Lastly, all our BCWI webinar tutorials and assets are posted on winebc.com. That's the industry side of our website under the resource tab. We have Google Business. We have Instagram algorithm. We have a series of webinars that obviously are going to be more important as we're working from this virtual reality. So one other thing I wanted to mention, we have a webinar next week, April 16th, Thursday a.m. My directors and CEO, as well as the Honorable Minister Lana Popham, will be joining us, Minister of Agriculture. So try to register for that one as well if you can. And yeah, if you have any questions at all, feel free to email us at the Wine Institute, myself, or info@winebc.com, and as well, you know of Amanda, the digital gal now. So thanks again, everyone, for joining us. And yes, by all means, replay this as much as you need, and hope you get going on Facebook.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Bye now.
Bye.